Members, good afternoon. It's the appointed time and we have a quorum. I call to order the meeting of the panel on constitutional affairs. Agenda item 1, information papers issued since the last meeting. After the last meeting, no information paper has been issued so far. Agenda item 2, items for discussion at the next meeting. We've had a discussion with the administration. If members agree, the next regular meeting, originally scheduled for Monday, June 15th, will be cancelled and replaced with a visit to be arranged by the administration. We'll visit the historical sites and memorial facilities of the War of Resistance in Wukaotang. Regarding the departure time and other information of the afternoon visit, the Secretariat will issue a notice informing members of the details. According to Rule 29D of the House Rules, the visit must be attended by a majority of the panel members. That's at least 9 members. So please join us for the visit. If members do not have any objections, the next regular meeting will be a visit. Agenda item 3, promotion of the Constitution and the Basic Law. Members who would like to speak, please press the request to speak button now. Members are keen on this topic. Let me welcome the Secretary for Constitutional and Mainland Affairs as well as the other officials. Members, please refer to LC paper number CB bracket 2617/2026 for the paper provided by the administration, as well as LC paper number CB bracket 2617/2026 for the background brief prepared by the Legislative Secretariat. I now invite Mr. Clement Wu, Undersecretary for Constitutional and Mainland Affairs, to walk us through the paper. Thank you, Chairman. Members, we are here today to brief members on the latest progress of the work of the government on the promotion of the Constitution and the Basic Law. In March this year, at the closing meeting of the first session of the 14th MPC, the outline was endorsed and it says, Hong Kong must solidly promote the practice of one country, two systems, fully, faithfully, and resolutely implement the policy of one country, two systems, and promote security as the foundation and development of stability. The Constitution is a solid legal basis for one country, two systems, and it protects Hong Kong and ensures the long-term stability of the city. Therefore, ensuring that members of the public have a deep understanding of the Constitution and the Basic Law is an important mission of the government. The government attaches importance to the promotional work of the Constitution and the Basic Law. The Constitution and Basic Law Promoting Steering Committee is led by the Chief Secretary for Administration and has been providing steer on the overall strategy. There are 5 subgroups under the committee, namely Teachers and Students Subgroup, Local Community Subgroup, Civil Servants Subgroup, Industrial, Commercial, and Professional Sector Subgroup, and Community Outside Hong Kong Subgroup. We've been adopting a multi-pronged approach. Through programs, competitions, exhibitions, as well as large-scale promotional activities, we promote the Constitution and the Basic Law with breadth and depth. These are to enhance the understanding of the public so that we can enhance the awareness of one country, two systems. We must go to the community for enhancing people's understanding. Therefore, at schools, the government organizes many interesting activities. For example, there are roving exhibitions as well as workshops. There are also mobile vehicles that set up booths at schools. There are also an ambassador scheme at school. Various kinds of competitions are held. There are also seminars, such as the Constitution Day seminar. We make use of various media. For example, we work with the RTHK to produce videos and TV programs. We also launch online games. On various online platforms, we step up publicity. The goal is that we can reach out to members of the public. The government also fund organizations to organize activities. Through community government collaboration, we seek to enhance the public's understanding. For the relevant details, please refer to the administration paper. Moving forward, the SAR government will ride on the existing basis to continue to deepen education and promotion of the Constitution, the Basic Law, and One Country, Two Systems, so that the correct concept of the constitutional order can be deeply rooted at all levels of the community, and that we can enhance people's awareness. Today, together with the Education Bureau, the HYAB, as well as the CSB, we are here to respond to members' views and questions. Thank you. Thank you, Undersecretary. I'll now open the floor for questions. I'll read out the names of the members who have pressed the button. Mr. Andrew Fan, Mr. Robert Lee, Mr. Chu Lap Wai, Mr. Andrew Yao, Mr. Thomas So, Professor Chen Wing Kwong, Dr. Eric Yim, Mr. Wu Yingpeng, Mr. Alex Fan, Mr. Holden Chow, and myself. Mr. Andrew Fan, please. Thank you, Chairman. First, I have to declare interests. I am the chairman of the Endeavour Education Center. I see that the government has done a lot of work to promote the Constitution and the Basic Law. The chairman, the organization I serve also helps organize the national seminar, National Constitution Day seminar. This is to enhance people's understanding of the Constitution and the Basic Law. I see that various policy bureaus have rolled out representative publicity campaigns. They have made an all-out effort to enhance people's understanding of the Basic Law and national security. I give my recognition to the government's effort. The administration, apart from organizing Constitution Day activities every year, will there be a long-term dedicated plan to step up coordination? Also, the promotional work has been taken forward for years. Apart from Article 31 of the Constitution and the Basic Law, teachers in general have a deep understanding of the Constitution and the Basic Law. We are at the appropriate stage where we should deepen our promotional work. Will the government deepen its education? For example, will there be advanced training programs as well as thematic workshops? Apart from explaining the provisions, will there be further explanation of the spirit behind the Constitution to tell people, including teachers and students, about the concept of the diplomatic work of our country so that they have a better understanding of the overall development of our country? I'll give each member 3 minutes, including questions and answers. Mr. Clement Wu. Thank you, Chairman. I thank the member for the questions. Concerning the questions about education, I'll ask the Education Bureau to supplement. To respond to the first part of the question, indeed, every year there are promotional activities to promote the Constitution, the Basic Law, and One Country, Two Systems. In recent years, we've been promoting the Constitution, the Basic Law, together with the National Security Law one country, two systems, as well as the relationship between Hong Kong and our country. Every year we come up with a theme. We've developed themes concerning national security. Every year the theme is a little different. This year is about leveraging one country, two systems. Based on the actual circumstances, we adjust the themes. In relation to the education part, I'll defer to the Education Bureau. The Education Bureau attaches importance to the training for teachers. We have launched various kinds of development programs for newly recruited teachers as well as serving teachers. For teachers in various disciplines, we provide dedicated training as well. Concerning national security, we hold on-site workshops. There are also other kinds of workshops that deepen the education for teachers. We'll continue to talk to the relevant departments to see what kind of programs we should roll out. Mr. Robert Lee. Thank you, Chairman. Promoting the Constitution and the Basic Law is an important job. We need to let the professional and business sector know what the government has done. My question is, how can the government share case studies? We have to teach people about the establishment of the SAR and that Hong Kong is a common law jurisdiction. As for Hong Kong being a capitalist city and the simple and low tax regime and so on, has the government invited any entrepreneurs or professionals to share their own stories so as to explain how the stories are related to the Constitution and the Basic Law? Through the sharing of their stories, we can, from a macro perspective, enhance people's understanding of the Basic Law. Can the administration share with us how can it, from a macro perspective or macro level, share various case studies? Mr. Clement Wu. We have been promoting the Constitution and the Basic Law to those overseas as well as the business and industrial sector. We have invited guest speakers to produce video clips so that they could share with people about their work, their investment in Hong Kong, and their professional expertise. They share how they manage to run businesses in Hong Kong and the advantages of Hong Kong. We have invited guests to produce such video clips. As from a macro level, what are the advantages of Hong Kong to the professional and business and industrial sector? Well, we have been educating people about the Basic Law. As for our other competitive edges, including the freedom of running businesses in Hong Kong as well as our low and tax regime, there have been mainland enterprises or other mainland enterprises going global through Hong Kong. Invest Hong Kong as well as other government departments have been promoting to these enterprises about Hong Kong's strengths. In terms of promoting the Constitution and the Basic Law, there are activities attended by the professional, business and industrial sector, and at those venues, we broadcast videos so as to enhance people's knowledge.
Thank you, Chair. After Mr. Chulapwe has spoken, I'll draw the line. If members want to speak, please press the request to speak button now. Mr. Chulapwe. Thank you, Chair. I have two questions. The first is about national security education publicity. How can we be more practical? We have on the website for national security education a summary of important judgments, but many of the cases are of individuals that had major breaches of relevant laws. But then we heard in the mainland many national security cases about individuals being reached out by foreign organizations trying to convert them. So how can we incorporate this in local education materials so that citizens won't breach irrelevant laws? Also, I understand that right now a school-based approach is adopted, and basically teachers act in accordance with the school's instructions to provide relevant education, but I think we can provide some sort of certification so as to make sure students have an in-depth understanding of the important concepts in national security education. Mr. Clement Wu. Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Mr. Chu, for the questions. I will ask the Education Bureau representative to answer the second question. For the first question, I think the members' views are quite valid. As we move from trying to mitigate the chaos to now advancing from stability to prosperity, we need to make sure we still maintain awareness in terms of the Constitution, basic law, and national security. We have been keeping up with our publicity work. We have on television stations as well as RTHK some short videos of national security law cases. It is, as Mr. Chu said, we want to enhance national security awareness. Mr. Chu suggested how we can incorporate other cases in our publicity. We will definitely review these. Thank you. I will now ask the Education Bureau representative to answer the second question. Thank you. The Education Bureau is implementing several initiatives. We have a curriculum framework that covers 27 subjects for national security education. We also agree that such education should be practical. We want to make the national security framework very relevant to students' lives. We have different activities, quiz competitions, as well as design competitions. We also work with the DOJ and Security Bureau and an NGO to host a territory-wide event. On 15th of April, National Security Day this year, we worked with a cultural organization to host a drone performance. Basically, with the drone performance, we will be able to really advertise for the national security education concepts. We will also combine knowledge for the national security education in, say, biology subject. We'll combine that with resource security, biosecurity, and conservation, as well as fighting against the pandemic. We have under teacher training some core curriculum requirements related to the Constitution, Basic Law, and national security. Thank you, Ms. Anita Ho. Before Mr. Andrew Yao speaks, let me say I'll draw the line here because we have another item to discuss for this meeting. Mr. Andrew Yao. Thank you, Chair. First of all, I would like to declare I'm an executive chairman for a subcommittee, a related subcommittee. Between 2025 and 2026, we took approximately 50,000 secondary students to the mainland for visits. In fact, it's probably more than 50,000 secondary students because 5,000 or 6,000 teachers came with. It is important for the citizenship subject. We often have visits made to different museums and other attractions. I believe civic education should be integrated into daily lives. We had students take part in different activities such as visits to courts or drills of the police. I think now what is relevant is innovative and frontier technologies such as what we're developing for the future, AI, quantum technology. I would also say it is very important for students to learn about the latest technologies in transportation because this is where our country is a pioneer in. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Andrew Yao, for the comments. I very much agree with you. Constitution, basic law, and national law education is of course important, but then it is also important to tell students about the current situation of the country, its history, its culture. This is how we can really nurture a sense of patriotism for the country. It can also help them learn more about the country in different aspects. For example, legal foundations. I'll see if the Education Bureau representative has anything to add. Yes, Ms. Ho. We actually have visits made by primary and secondary school students. We provide every year 100,000 student quotas that would cover different areas. With what the member mentioned, technology, students are very much attracted. They are very much attracted by these activities. And we have students visit the Sky Eye surveillance system. We also had students go to the Shenzhen Technology Museum. We would continue to collect feedback to see how we can enhance the visits. Thank you, Dr. Thomas So. Thank you, Chair. First, I would like to declare an interest. In the past few years, I took part in the organization of training sessions for civil servants and teachers. And the Undersecretary mentioned a program produced by the RTHK. I'm actually the host. In the past few years, the Bureau has been working hard to promote the Constitution and basic law as well as the security law. But I do still have some follow-up questions. First, the paper talked about providing training to civil servants and teachers. How many participated? How many received relevant training? But I am more concerned about the quality of such training and the effectiveness. From what I can see, for civil servants, they would fill out questionnaires after the training sessions. They will also make responses during the training sessions, and that's how we can gauge the effectiveness of training sessions. And for the recruitment of civil servants, we have a 20 multiple choice question test for the testing of related knowledge. I want to ask if this is in-depth enough. Looking forward, will we have reforms for the test to improve the depth of the test? That's my first question. The second question is on publicity. As the acting secretary or undersecretary said, we need to really go deep into the community. So the Constitution Day is on 4th of December. The National Security Education Day is on 15th of April. On the specific dates, as we have events in those months, for example, we have Rugby Sevens in April. Would you have some organizations sponsor the sports events where we have wide participation? For example, we can have a cup or an award that represents national security, so that we can have, say, a Constitution Cup, so that we can convey this message to the community. You should have reserved some time for the officials to respond. I apologize, Chair, Undersecretary. Thank you, Dr. Thomas. So, thank you for your support so far. Later, I will ask the CSB representative answer the question on civil servants, and we will consider the crossover of the different events. Thank you. CSB representative, Ms. Janice Tam. Thank you, Chair. The member mentioned the tests on basic law and national security law. It is for those who want to join the civil service, but this is just a start. We agree with the member, which is why we provide a series of training sessions to newly joining civil servants to tell them about the constitutional order and one country, two systems, so that they have a clear and correct understanding. But we are not limited by this. We believe civil servants have the constitutional responsibility and role to support Hong Kong's service to the country. It is indeed about nurturing an attitude. In terms of effectiveness of the training, we don't only ask them in the post-course questionnaire whether they're satisfied with the course. We ask them to provide reflections, and for longer courses we'll ask them to write study reports. So basically they have to think about how they can apply the knowledge to their work. We also ask the officers to share their learning experience with other officers. We believe it is important to foster a continuous learning culture to learn more about the country. We will work with senior management personnel of departments to make sure civil servants are learning about the country's policy and situation, and heads of departments will need to make sure to initiate such efforts. Thank you, Professor Chen Wing-Kwong. Thank you, Chair. The government has adopted a multi-pronged approach to promote the Constitution, basic law, and national security. I have some questions on the efforts relating to national security education. As we are now advancing from stability to prosperity with the implementation of relevant laws, people think it's peaceful now, so we don't have to talk about national security anymore. How can we remind citizens that we need to continuously safeguard national security and make sure there is no soft resistance bringing about threats to national security? And I note on the 17th, the relevant national security section has issued an alert for vigilance against penetration by foreign bodies in different ministries and sections to try to convert officials to obtain the country's secrets. So how can we remind civil servants and those in the commercial sector in Hong Kong to be alert of such risks? How can... And I also note that we have some documentaries on national security cases in China. So perhaps we can adopt this format because this really helps enhance public awareness. Can we make more cases of the police and ICAC into documentaries or TV programs so that we can use this easy to understand format to enhance citizens' awareness? Thank you.
Under Secretary, I thank the member for the questions. Professor Chen mentioned that the national security law has been implemented, but it doesn't mean that Hong Kong is safe and peaceful. I agree. That's why we launch a persistent campaign to promote the national security law. National security risks persist, and they are invisible. So there is no end to safeguarding national security. Through National Security Education Day, education at schools as well as social media platforms, we remind citizens to safeguard national security and stay alert to any fake information disseminated by external forces. The RTHK in recent years has launched a lot of special programs about national security. For example, there is a TV program that explains how our laws help plug the loopholes in national security. The program is also to dispel any misunderstanding that young people have. Moving forward, the government will step up collaboration with the RTHK as well as other media to produce documentary, thematic stories, short videos, and through interesting and vivid means, we seek to enhance people's awareness of national security. Next, Dr. Eric Yim. The Constitution and the Basic Law are the constitutional basis of Hong Kong. They are also the cornerstones of Hong Kong's safety and stability. Therefore, I hope there can be more resources dedicated to the promotion. I see that the government is willing to step up its efforts. According to the administration paper, over the past 3 school years, about 19,000 teachers and school principals have participated in relevant training. I want to know the percentage of teachers and principals who have participated in the relevant training compared to the total number of teachers and principals in Hong Kong. I hope all teachers in Hong Kong can receive the training. In the previous discussions, we talked about training for teachers working at international schools. what measures will the administration take to enhance training for international school teachers? According to the paper, the government seeks to promote national security education, civic education, and national studies. I support the government's efforts, and I think the flag-raising ceremonies held in schools is the most direct way to cultivate students' sense of belonging and national pride. The People's Liberation Army in Hong Kong take part in flag-raising ceremony in primary and secondary schools in Hong Kong. I want to know if the administration would invite the Hong Kong garrison to regularly take part in such school activities or talks. Mr. Wu, I thank Dr. Eric Yim. He represents the Chinese enterprises in Hong Kong, and he has been supporting our work in promoting national security education. In relation to the question about flag-raising ceremonies and schools, I defer to the EDB. I'll respond to the three questions. The first question concerns teacher training. The training mentioned by the members is just one of the many kinds of trainings we launch. Over the past 5 years, we work with various government departments, and we have over 280,000 teachers participating in our training. Apart from face-to-face training, there are various kinds of training. There are physical lessons, online courses, teachers' groups, and learning circles. Based on teachers' needs, they have an in-depth discussions of various topics. In relation to the question about Hong Kong garrison, I know that some uniformed groups in large-scale activities invite Hong Kong garrison to help uniformed groups or schools to host large-scale ceremonies or flag-raising ceremonies. We have invited primary schools and secondary schools in Hong Kong to visit the warships of the Hong Kong garrison. We've also invited teachers to visit the relevant exhibitions to enhance their understanding of the work of the People's Liberation Army. The education every year compiles a calendar marking important activities. For example, July 1st, April 15th, and so on. We offer advice to schools so that schools can, on these important dates, organize relevant lessons that are relevant. We also make use of important dates every year. For example, last year was the 80th anniversary of the victory of the War of Resistance, and we worked at the national games and we distributed tickets to students so that they could watch the games. The administration did not respond to my questions about training for international school teachers. Yes. Our training targeted teachers working at local schools. For schools that offer non-local curriculum, they can make use of the materials on our website so that they can have a better understanding of the national anthem and the national flag. There are English versions to the materials, and they can obtain information on our website. Next, Mr. Wu Yingpeng, I declare interest. I am the deputy chairman of an exchange fund in Hong Kong. I'm also the secretary to a basic law committee. I provide talks in activities organized by the Education Bureau and HYAB. I'm happy to see that the SAR government has yielded results in its work on promoting the Constitution and the Basic Law. We have been promoting study in Hong Kong brand, and more overseas students are choosing to come to Hong Kong for further studies. So there are frequent exchanges between local and overseas students. I want to know if the SAR government will consider promoting the Constitution, the Basic Law, the strengths under one country, two systems to foreign students. For example, will you hold a development forum for young people so that we can promote the values under one country, two systems. We can talk about how one country, two systems can help solve international disputes and conflicts. We can also tell good stories of Hong Kong. Mr. Wu, I thank Mr. Wu Yingpeng for supporting the education on constitution and rule of law on various funds. In relation to promoting exchanges between local and overseas students, I'll defer to the Education Bureau. Education Bureau. Foreign students come to study in schools in Hong Kong, and the curriculum we have launched apply to these students. Overseas students can, through these activities, learn about the history, culture, the constitution, and the basic law of Hong Kong. They can also participate in the flag-raising ceremonies. Mr. Alex Fan. I'm a member of the Civic Education Committee under the HYAB. I am also a member of a coordination group of education development. I'm also a keynote speaker of the Basic Law series seminars that are held every year. I have a couple of questions. To follow up on the question raised by Dr. Eric Yim, I'm looking at paragraph 8 of the paper. It says that starting from 2021-2022, a number of teachers and students have completed the training. And these training are crucial to primary teachers because primary teachers are important to students' education. They have a direct impact on students' learning and growth. According to the Education Bureau, apart from this kind of courses, there are various activities and trainings held to enhance teachers' understanding. There are various approaches adopted by the administration. Currently, there are about 20,000 primary teachers in Hong Kong. That means many primary teachers have yet to participate in the course. The course is not mandatory. Will there be targeted measures to be put in place to encourage more primary teachers to complete this course in the future? Would the administration consider integrating this course as well as other training such as continuous professional development and the assessment mechanism for teachers? Now I refer to paragraphs 24 to 28 of the paper. These paragraphs cover work targeting members of the industrial, commercial, and professional sectors. There are exhibitions, articles, and short videos for the sectors. There are quite a number of members from the industrial commercial sectors here. I'm not sure if we should adopt the same promotional means for industrial commercial sectors as that for students. The CEDB has been doing a lot to help enterprises to go global. They line up those in the business sector with professional services. We have been promoting the rule of law system and the common law system in Hong Kong to equip those from the business sector to go global. Can we take the opportunities to educate them about the Constitution and the basic law? Just now we heard the bell, so please leave enough time for the administration to respond to your questions. Undersecretary, I'll give a quick response. I totally agree. We always talk about the unique advantages of Hong Kong under one country, two systems. And we promote these strengths to investors coming to Hong Kong. And one country, two system is the major strength we have. I will defer to the Education Bureau now. As mentioned, the Education Bureau provide various kinds of training. The training mentioned in the paper is just one of the many kinds of training we offer. For newly recruited teachers, we impose special requirements to them. Please refer to the paper for details. For teachers from various disciplines, we offer different training. Say primary teachers teaching humanities in primary school, they have to have a basic understanding of our country's history and the constitution as well as the basic law. And based on these requirements, we offer training to teachers. So there is a wide variety of training and we will continue to launch this training.
Mr. Holden Chow. Thank you, Chair. I can see there is great detail in the paper and what the officials said today. They have done much work in national education. The efforts should be continuous. I think we all understand that. There are different courses of the Education Bureau providing training to different groups. I think what is important is, apart from designing some courses for teachers, there are teachers for various reasons that have yet to participate in such training. How can we really increase their participation? Can we have them participate in relevant training along with those who have already participated in similar training? We can have teachers who have already took such courses become leaders in a way so that they can lead the conducting of some of the courses. I think we should encourage participation in the designing part, because with this we will have more initiative from them, and we do want people to be proactive. And the Education Bureau may have already identified some students and teachers who are more proactive. So then we can have them encourage those who have yet to join. I think we will achieve greater results with this. This is just a comment, Chair. On a secretary, I think it is indeed important to encourage participation. I'll see if the Education Bureau representative has anything to add. Thank you, Chair. For teachers, they have to meet a target that every 3 years they have to undertake 150 hours of training, and a component is local and national education. All teachers have to meet the relevant standard. We also have a digital system for teachers to access their training records to see what they're missing. We will convey the members' views to our team members for consideration. Thank you. Ms. Jenny Mann. Thank you, Chair. I have 2 questions. About the subgroups under the Constitution and Basic Law Promotion Steering Committee, would we cover those staff members of subvented organizations? Often subvented organizations receive a large amount of public money, and staff wages often come from public money. They also have, in a way, increments, but they are not civil servants. How can we make sure they are subject to requirements of knowledge in Constitution and Basic Law, and maybe we can make that into a promotion criterion for mid-level and senior management personnel? We also need to have civil servants in recruitment passing the Constitution, the Basic Law, and National Security Law tests. But passing the test does not mean they understand the legislative intent. We need to make sure they have understanding of the intent to apply to their daily work. So I want to ask, for training provided to civil servants, does it cover these areas? Thank you. I will ask the Civil Service College or CSB representative to answer the questions. Ms. Tam, thank you, member, for the questions. We are trying to provide training to civil servants as an initiative of the Civil Service College. And if we have the resources, we want to provide more support to employees of subvented organizations in the long term. And we understand what the member said. It is in fact very important for the staff members to learn about the specific areas, and policy bureaus and departments and the relevant organizations, depending on their resources constraints, I understand if they have the resources, they are already providing relevant training to their staff members. And with our training, we don't only ask the civil servants to know what the provisions are. They need to know what the intent is, because civil servants have the constitutional responsibility and role. And we also have legal experts, academics, as well as officers of the Department of Justice to give training, to tell them about the specific judgments, for example. And this will help civil servants have a good understanding to exercise their work. Lastly, I want to say we need to consolidate and enhance civil servants' patriotism and national identity. They need to know about the specific laws, but then they also need to be mindful of, deep down, they need to serve the country. Thank you. Mr. Lee Chen-ke, we have paid close attention and attached great importance to the promotion of the Constitution and Basic Law, as well as the national security law. And after the black-clad violence, citizens know it is only with security that we can have development, and then we can reap the fruits of development. It seems that national security education has not really reached different sectors of the community. That's how we can really benefit from development. We need to tell people this is relevant to the core interests of Hong Kong. And we need to make sure we can be practical in our publicity to tell our different groups, civil servants, the commercial sector, or different age groups in society. We need to think about how we can incorporate that into daily lives of the people. We often talked about short videos and having mobile trucks in such promotion work. But can we do something like VR videos online so that we can tell people, for example, which laws can tackle certain issues, and we can provide prizes to people? We should start from something basic and then we can go more in depth. It is important to have a framework in people's minds about the country. Thank you. Undersecretary, we thank Mr. Lee for his suggestions. We already have some sort of online games for people, but as we enter a critical era that has seen great changes that are unprecedented. We know that security is not necessarily always there, and we will definitely think about online and offline channels and perhaps some games to promote relevant concepts. I will let Dr. Junius Ho speak, and then I will give Professor Priscilla Leung some time to speak. I will give you my turn because we have already drawn the line. Dr. Junius Ho. Thank you, Chair. Many members have raised similar concerns about how we have great turnouts at exhibitions, but how can we actually measure the effectiveness of relevant efforts? I hope the government can do well in this. After the promulgation of national security law, in particular, sections 8 to 10 says the government needs to provide steering in 4 areas: schools, internet, media, NGOs. We need to make sure we exercise our legal responsibility in terms of disseminating national security education and instill in people awareness of such legislation. We need to make sure we do well in both coordination and development. The Education Bureau has enriched content on national security education. I think we need to have tests to test people's knowledge. I think if you don't apply some sort of pressure, the horse will not run itself. So we should have some objective standards. We can have open book exams. I can see in paragraph 8, after 4 years, we only have 19,000 teachers taking part in such voluntary training. And the laws are already there for many years, the Constitution, the Basic Law. I mean, outside the national security law, we have the White Paper and the Constitution, Basic Law there for quite some time. So apart from enriching relevant content, we should have a dedicated subject teaching people knowledge in this regard. Well, I think there must be some pressure. Even for us LegCo members, we have regular learning sessions. In fact, today alone, we also had a learning session. I will perhaps ask the Education Bureau representative answer relevant questions. I do agree education is very important. Thank you, Dr. Junius Ho, for the comments. And with the 19,000 figure, it's just for a particular course in April this year. National security should not be limited to a particular subject or a small group of teachers. It is the responsibility of all teachers. And we have, as I said earlier, adopted a multi-pronged approach. It is quite comprehensive. In 2025, we have a renewed national security framework covering 27 subjects. And in February this year, we have a new white paper of the country on national security. And we quickly made updates to our curriculum. We also have work with different organizations such as the police force and universities to host an event on national security education. We also ask schools to have dedicated officers to compile reports as well as make plans for national security education, national education. Thank you. Professor Priscilla Leung. Thank you, Chair. We talked much about promoting basic law. But with the promotion of the Constitution, in fact, Zhao Leji, the senior government official, said specifically that we need to really focus on the initiative. We should be quite confident in the Constitution, basic law, and one country, two systems. At the national banquet, Mr. Donald Trump, the President of the United States, said the Supreme Court of the U.S., they talked about, there is actually a U.S. metaphor on lazy student, lazy teacher, but then we actually did not know Franklin, the U.S. president, also mentioned a Red Sea metaphor, and in the left we actually have Confucius, and to the right we have Stalin. And many years ago we can see Chinese philosophy is already greatly valued in other parts of the world. Let me also talk about my experience in September last year. I went to the Confucius Institute in Rome, and two Italian professors actually expressed great appreciation for Chinese philosophy. And Italy did not have the money because politically they need to try to exert pressure on Confucius Institute. So their textbooks still talked about Hong Kong being the freest economy, and it has the country's protection and pledge in this regard. I want to say this now because for civil servants, this is very important. With this story, I think the moral is for our officials, civil servants, or those who want to join politics. Young students should know that we are at this era of development. We need to tell people about the touching stories. I need to share with you this story. I thank the chairman for giving me the opportunity to share this thing.
Mr. Wu, I thank Professor Leung for sharing the touching stories. We've all heard her views. We will think about ways to touch our people as we promote the Constitution and the Basic Law. If necessary, we could invite Professor Leung for a more detailed sharing. Now we move on to agenda item 4. The outline of the combined 4th and 5th reports of the Hong Kong Special Administrative Region under the United Nations Convention on the Rights of Persons with Disabilities. Members who would like to speak, please press the Request to Speak button. Meanwhile, I invite the government representatives to join us. Let's welcome Under Secretary for Labour and Welfare and the other government representatives. Members, please refer to LC paper number CB bracket 2617/2026 bracket 04 for the paper provided by the administration. I'll first invite Mr. Ho Kai Ming, Under Secretary, to walk us through the administration paper. Thank you, Chairman. Members. The UN Convention on the Rights of Persons with Disabilities seeks to ensure that persons with disabilities enjoy equal rights and that they enjoy the dignity they should have. The convention came into effect in our country in 2008. According to the convention, state parties must regularly report to the UN to report on the measures each state party takes to ensure the rights of persons with disability. In this connection, the SAR government is preparing for the 4th and 5th report to be incorporated in our country's report. In the 2022 report, the SAR government listed out its conclusions. We also offered our advice in that report. So the report we're going to draft will not only be incorporated in our country's latest report to the UN, we will also include the latest measures we take. We will also respond to the concluding remarks we made in 2022. The report will be submitted to the Central People's Government, and it will be incorporated in its periodic reports to be submitted to the UN. In 2010 and 2018 respectively, the SAR government submitted its initial report and its combined second and third reports. According to usual practice, the SAR government would conduct consultation to fully reflect people's views in our report. Last week, we launched the consultation, and the consultation will end on the 30th of June this year. The purpose of the consultation is to collect feedback from people so that they could express their views on what to be included in the report. We're now consulting this panel on the content of the combined 4th and 5th reports. The government will also consult the Rehabilitation Advisory Committee and the relevant sectors. During the consultation period, the LWB will listen to views of members of the public to make sure that the report will fully reflect people's views. Other organizations or groups may also submit their written views during the consultation period. Since the convention took effect in Hong Kong, the SAR government have been perfecting the rights and benefits of persons with disabilities. We've been working with various sectors of the community to provide and cater to the needs of those with special needs. The government also has been improving the environment so that persons with disabilities enjoy equal opportunities in the participation and development of their daily lives. When drafting the report, the SAR government would fully consider the views we have collected, and we will, where appropriate, incorporate the views in the report. The Rehabilitation Advisory Committee last year reviewed the various measures of the SAR to support persons with disability. We will include our concerted efforts and the relevant highlights into the report. That's all from my briefing. Thank you. A total of 5 members have pressed the request to speak button. I'll read out the lineup. Mr. Alex Fan, Mr. Robert Lee, myself, Mr. Chu Lap Wai, and Mr. Tommy Chong. I'll give each member 4 minutes, including questions and answers. Mr. Alex Fan. Thank you, Chairman. I'd like to ask about Article 33 of the Convention about implementation and monitoring. The UN Committee in 2020 made some concluding observations. That's paragraphs 77 and 78 of Annex 4. It suggested that the SAR government set up a monitoring mechanism to monitor the implementation of the UN Convention in Hong Kong. I see that according to paragraph 31 of the draft report, that the SAR government will respond to paragraphs 77 and 78. we have the Equal Opportunities Commission as well as the Rehabilitation Advisory Committee in Hong Kong. There are PWDs sitting on the two committees. And so we have been monitoring the situation. The SAR government will submit the combined 4th and 5th reports. Will the administration tell us that without establishing a completely new independent organization or statutory body, how will the government enhance the existing monitoring mechanism? Will it consider in the long run allowing the Rehabilitation Advisory Committee greater power? For example, will the administration ask the committee to review regularly the policies of the government? Will the government also submit independent assessment reports regularly to strengthen the role of the advisory committee? Administration, I thank Mr. Alex Fan for the suggestions. I agree that the Rehabilitation Advisory Committee and the Equal Opportunities Commission are part of our monitoring mechanism. Let me first talk about the Rehabilitation Advisory Committee. The committee is a major advisory body for the SAR government. Its scope of work covers helping the SAR government monitor the implementation of the UN Convention on the Rights of Persons with Disabilities. The advisory committee has also been helping the government formulate a rehabilitation proposal for PWDs. The proposal covers strategic direction and measures to cater to the needs of PWDs. The advisory committee plays an important role. As mentioned, there will be a public consultation. And together with the advisory committee, we will listen to public views on the combined reports. Now, Equal Opportunities Commission helps enforce our anti-discrimination laws. It is an independent statutory body, and it is comprised of members from various backgrounds, which cover persons with disabilities. The EOC also conducts investigation on complaints made based on the 4 anti-discriminatory laws. It also helps mediate any conflicts and disputes. It provides support to those discriminated against and promote equal opportunities values. It also carries out studies on anti-discrimination as well as equal opportunities. Apart from the EOC, the Rehabilitation Advisory Committee regularly monitors services provided to PWDs, and it offers advice to the government. Next, Mr. Robert Lee. Thank you, Chairman. Today we are here to discuss the outline of the combined 4th and 5th reports under the UN Convention. I support the general direction. I want to ask about the 2nd and 3rd reports. Article 29 about political participation. The SAR government promotes the participation of PWDs in advisory committees and the voting arrangement for PWDs. PWDs as voters should have the right to freely choose who should offer support to them. There's mention of the 2016 LegCo election. Back then, 94% of the polling stations could cater to those with mobility impairments. The paper mentioned that where necessary, barrier-free facilities could be provided to PWDs and that free shuttle services could be offered. I want to know if there are any special reasons why not all polling stations could cater to the needs of PWDs. Is it because there is not a requirement that 100% of the polling stations provide barrier-free access? If you cannot satisfy the needs of all PWDs, you might as well opt for another venue. In 2016, the percentage stood at 94. So my question is there further room for improvement so that all polling stations could be barrier-free? Ms. Low, in the 2023 District Council election and the 2025 Legislative elections, there were 95 and 97% of the polling stations respectively that could cater to the needs of those using wheelchairs or with mobility impairments. We have to take into consideration various factors when we decide whether 100% of the polling stations should cater to the needs of PWDs. For example, we have to make use of sports grounds and turn them into polling stations, and these venues usually are equipped with barrier-free facilities. However, we sometimes cannot identify appropriate sites with barrier-free access facilities, and we would arrange rehab buses for PWDs to visit the polling stations. So, where feasible, we would try our best to cater to the needs of PWD voters.
I'm not trying to make this difficult for you, but like what I heard earlier, it's from 94 to 95. It's not a far percentage from 100%. We want to make sure it's convenient for disabled persons. If we can just do more for polling arrangements, I think we can achieve 100%. Yes, we should continue to seek improvement. Let me add something, Chair. For individuals who have received their polling cards and they think the relevant polling stations do not meet their needs, they can ask the REO to arrange for them to vote at another polling station. Mr. Tommy Chung, thank you. I note for Article 20, we need to support disabled persons in acquiring the devices or equipment they need and be entitled to certain subsidies. But often, because we calculate assets on a household basis, the disabled persons can't meet the threshold for subsidies for medical fees. Is it possible also for us to have a single committee that will consider policies relating to disabled persons and their carers, and we should have representatives telling us about their problems and we can then come up with solutions? I am also very glad that the carer portal has helped many carers of disabled persons. I heard some feedback on this. They wanted to provide more interactive assistance other than just provide advice. We can get into contact with some social workers, but you have to book appointments with them. Is it possible to improve the arrangements? Mr. Ho Kai-ming. Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Mr. Chung, for the questions. About medical reforms, I will convey your views to the hospital authority. About Article 20 is about how we can support disabled persons to live in the community with dignity and basically be self-reliant. We have, under the Innovation and Technology Fund, some equipment available for rental by those who need such, and they may consider renting electric wheelchairs. This service is often used by disabled persons. We'll continue to follow on this. Before, the Innovation and Technology Fund usually works on a to business basis. We'll see in future whether we can work on a to consumption basis to really meet demands of disabled persons. As for the care portal, thank you for the member for his praises. We do have some projects that people can talk to AI, and we can put them in touch with social workers, but then it is on a booking basis. But we also have a 182, 183 carer hotline that we can provide round-the-clock assistance to carers. And if they have such needs for carer services or custody services, we can definitely provide assistance. We are more on the side of providing emotional support, but we also try to provide round-the-clock support where we can to carers of disabled persons. As for whether we should have a separate committee for disabled persons on top of the Rehabilitation Advisory Committee, when we reformed the RAC, we actually heard some calls for that, but we believe we need to have good coordination. We have under Rehabilitation Advisory Committee representatives from, say, the Housing Bureau, the Transportation Department, and other departments to really facilitate disabled persons living in the community in a self-reliant manner. If we have an independent committee, we can't really involve the government departments. We believe with this we have struck a balance to really improve the living environment of disabled persons, and we can still hear the views on the committee. Thank you. Dr. Junius Ho. Thank you, Chair. In the letter about 33, implementation and surveillance, I think in Chinese there is a typo. It has duplicated a character. You should review this. As for a committee on disabled persons, that is in our reply of paragraph 77 and 78. It is in Annex 2, paragraphs 141 to 147. We have already explained ourselves. This is what I understand, Undersecretary. Is it right? It talked about in implementation or monitoring whether we need to have an independent body. The UN committee said we should have one, and we said no, we are already doing quite well. We have the Equal Opportunities Commission and the rest. So basically, your reply is in paragraphs 141 to 147. I was wondering if you can make it clear, like in the form of punchline, that we have already met the relevant targets in terms of independent surveillance, because the Equal Opportunities Commission is already doing such work. So you have talked about this over 4 to 5 paragraphs, but you're not punchy enough. You are not telling them you missed this. We already have these. How can we be specific in our report that we already did what they asked us to do so that there is a clear conclusion. Thank you, Undersecretary. Thank you, Dr. Junius Ho, for your comments. We will see how we can adjust this so that we will be clear in our conclusions. So basically, you can say we have already addressed your concern, case closed, nothing else to do. We know Dr. Ho's views. Thank you. All right, it's now my turn to speak. I have some questions. I note some media reports as well as analyses of academics or commentary of different sectors. We have been doing quite well in protecting the rights of disabled persons. It's just that there's always room for improvement. And if people are unfair to us, we should make it clear to prevent smearing. The DB is paying close attention to the situation to make sure we can implement more measures. We should have more hostel or bed spaces for disabled persons in residential care homes. I do note due to certain constraints in older legislation, some homes can't really have more bed spaces. Can we make relevant changes? The government already has different data on the needs of underprivileged groups. Can we have a central database? Can we be more scientific about the collection and analysis of such data? Can we enhance the relevant arrangements? Because now we are trying to move towards the smart government in direction. So can we do more with relevant data? Mr. Ho Kai-ming. Thank you, Chair. We have tried to increase bed spaces for disabled persons. We have done that for elderly persons as well, but elderly persons have standardized needs, whereas disabled persons, there are diversified needs. And last time when we held a public hearing at the United Nations, we heard the same. The government has implemented different arrangements. We now have some concessions and waivers for private developers to develop residential care homes for disabled persons on top of for residential care homes for the elderly, so as to increase the provision of bed spaces. And compared to the previous term of the government, we also have an additional 5% in plot ratio for the construction of such facilities. Hopefully, in the near future, we will see good results. We will continue to do work in this regard so that people, whether they're living in the community or in homes, can live with dignity. As for the comment on database, we will have the commissioner coordinate with different bodies such as the Hospital Authority and Housing Authority to gather relevant information, and we'll have care teams to visit different friends, including disabled persons. We will see how we can consolidate data so that we can take a more proactive approach to prevent accidents from happening and provide targeted services for the groups. All right, thank you. We do have close liaison with care teams. We thank the Labor and Welfare Bureau and the Social Welfare Department for their support in care teams' visits. When they identified issues, care teams will make referrals to government departments. I think it works well, the arrangements. I thank you for your detailed answer, Undersecretary. This is the end of discussion of this item. Let's move on to the fifth agenda item, any other business. Would members like to propose any other business? If not, meeting adjourned. I would like to thank Mr. Ho Kai-ming and other government officials for attending this meeting. Thank you.